Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday afternoon, April the 4th, 2021. I hope everyone is safe and doing as well as possible. And if you celebrate Easter and Resurrection Day is what I like to call it, I hope you had a good day and enjoyed it with friends and family and just enjoyed the springtime as much as you could. And I'm staying in and just kind of doing my usual thing here. So I'd like to welcome everyone to the show today. This is my weekly update that I will be putting on YouTube. We're going to be looking at methane from NOAA and from CAMS, Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services. We're going to be looking at sea ice, and I have a couple of articles to share, and we'll do our climate roundup. And if people don't like the length of the shows, they can pause them and come back to them, or you can fast forward to the parts that you want to listen to. So, because there's a lot of material in here, and I can't skip over any of it. So, if you're wanting a 3-minute news clip for the highlights, you're going to have to go somewhere else. So, we're going to start with the NOAA methane data. And I've been tracking this for a couple of years now, since March of 2019, so going into the third year now. And so here we have the 477/469 millibar reading. This is the Met-Op-1 satellite in the morning for April the 3rd. The mean or average for this level was 1907 parts per billion, so that's getting up there. The high reading was 2429. In the afternoon, the mean was 1905, the high reading was 2501. On the Met-Op-2 satellite in the morning, the mean was 1883, the high reading was 2339. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1883, and the high reading was 2423. Here's the spreadsheet that I've been tracking this on. And here we have the data for the 3rd, and the averaged out from the means for 1894.50 parts per billion, which shows an increase this week of 2.25 parts per billion. So you can see it on the chart over here with the blue line going up, and it's gone up for the last 3 weeks in a row. And we're at the beginning of the rise for this year, and typically it should not be really going up steadily right now. We'll probably have a decrease like we did last year, a little bit slack off, and then it'll start going up in earnest in June, and then it peaked out in October of last year up here to late September, and then mid-October we had 2 peaks here for the same amount. So we're above the 1890 threshold now, and we're about at where we were in August of last year, where it had been going up all summer. And So that was, 1894.5. Where am I? Went too far. And so the week of August the 1st, it was 1891.75. The week of August the 8th, it was 1895.75. So we're about that same reading, just under that. So that was August the 8th. And we're 10.25 parts per billion higher than this time last year, from April the 3rd of 2020. And since I started tracking this on March 1st of 2019, we've got an increase of 37.25 parts per billion. So just over 2 years, we've gone up to 37 here. So we're in no man's land, seriously. And so here's what we have for this week. I've been tracking this on a daily basis since about February of last year. So here we are on the 27th from the data that I showed last Sunday. We were at 1892.25. Then on the 28th it went down 1.75. On the 29th it went up 1.25. On the 30th it went down 0.25. On the 31st it went up 2.75, so that was a pretty sharp increase for one day there. On the 1st it went up 0.75. On the 2nd it went down 1 part per billion. And then on the 3rd it went up 0.5. So, it does some stair stepping, but it's a general trend upward here. So now at one point we were 2.75 parts per billion higher than last weekend, and that was on the 1st, and then it went down, then it went back up. So we're still going up, and like I said, we're in no man's land. Now we'll look at the CAMS data. The latest data that they have is for Friday, April 2nd. Now I will refresh again just to make sure they haven't released Saturday. They'll probably put Saturdays up right after I finish recording the show. So here we got Friday the 2nd, Arctic view and surface level pulled up. There's our color ledger. So the data is for Friday and the forecast period is for Saturday through Tuesday. Now one thing we saw this week was a cloud of methane coming up kind of continuously here in the Chukchi Sea. Now this is over this East Siberian Arctic shelf where they have discovered lots of huge methane deposits in the sediment here. It's also been continuously pluming up here by Komsolometz, and I really think this area must be in the Russian military zone for people not to be researching and reporting on this high release area. So they go to the Laptev Sea and Chukchi Sea for their studies. They don't go to this area where it's been releasing for the last year and 3 months on a continuous basis. They don't even send a drone out just to capture an air sample and analyze it, which is what I would do. Because you could do that in the middle of winter even. You wouldn't have to send a ship out. You could send a drone out just to get an air sample. We're also seeing this problem spot in the North Atlantic pop back to life. We're also seeing this high release on this north coast of Alaska near Koktovik. Now we'll shift to the North Pole view. And we're seeing this wave of green and yellow come off of Europe, come across the Atlantic. This is a sign of higher methane. Okay, Persian Gulf is filled up. Europe has been filling back up with dark readings. Here's India, here's China, and see the green coming out across the Pacific, and waves of green coming out from the US and Canada, coming out across the Atlantic here. And we're seeing very high readings on this eastern side of the United States, just filling up with that darkest reddish brown, which is the highest is 10,000 parts per billion. So we don't know exactly what it is. That range, this dark color, the range is 2160 to 10,000 parts per billion. Now we'll look at the global view. And this summer, I don't know what this summer is going to be like. It's, it keeps getting hotter every year. So we're seeing this dark blue, more of that creeping in the southern hemisphere. This is a higher reading. It's 1800 parts per billion. This purplish color that had been filling up the southern hemisphere is 1780. And so we'll see this dark blue creep down further and further, and then we'll see the light blue creep down. We're also seeing it stream off of South America, and so we'll just see it, these higher readings creeping further south as the methane keeps rising for this summer. Now we'll look at 500 HPA, and this is about the same level up in the atmosphere as the level that I'm tracking on NOAA. This is about 18,000 feet, or about halfway up in the atmosphere. So this is pretty awful. Look at this over China. and going down into southern Asia. Then we've got red covering the whole Arctic region here, but this dark, this is pretty awful there. We're also seeing yellows and reds creeping further south at this level as well. Now we'll look at total column. This is all the methane added up through the layers. And we can see the highest readings are over China. We've got some reds popping up in Asia, here in India, and here in South America. We're seeing greens further south, so we've seen some green all the way down to this western peninsula in the Antarctic, and some light green even here over the Ross Sea. So that's signs of higher methane as well. While we're here, I'll just we can take a peek at carbon dioxide from Friday. Look at this. It just looks worse every time I look at it. And it's going up. It's not going down. And I mean, these higher readings and higher readings are baked in the cake from what has already been emitted. So there's that. Now, before we start looking at sea ice, I've got this little post from the NASA website, and I did post this for my Subscribe members and also in my community tab on YouTube. This was from March the 30th, sorry. And this was about the maximum ice extent for this winter. NASA finds 2021 Arctic winter sea ice tied for 7th lowest on record. Sea ice in the Arctic appears to have hit its annual maximum extent after growing through the fall and winter. The 2021 winter time extent reached on March the 21st ties with 2007's as the 7th smallest extent of winter sea ice in the satellite record. This year's maximum extent peaked at 5.70 million square miles, or 14.77 million square kilometers, and is 340,000 square miles, or 880,000 square kilometers, below the 1981 to 2010 average maximum, equivalent to missing an area of ice larger than the state of Texas and Florida combined. Here's an image. This image, created at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland, was created using data provided by the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, acquired by the Advanced Microwave Scanning Radiometer 2 instrument aboard the Global Change Observation Mission First Water Shizuku satellite. And this is a YouTube video, but this goes through what we just read. But this was the maximum right here from that picture. On March the 21st. So we'll leave a link below on that. Now, so it said it tied with 2007, now remember, the sea ice was much thicker in 2007, and so even though 2007 was the maximum was not that as big as the other years, was much thicker, and now here we are at tied with the lowest maximum extent on record, and we're at the thinnest on record for this time of year. So there you go. It's not good. It's seriously not good. So, well, while we're here, we'll go ahead and look at sea ice index, and I will take you through the slideshow, but we'll just kind of shift it up a little bit today. So here we are for the Arctic, and this is the concentration, and where the blue is, it's meaning it's less concentrated and it's melting. So we're seeing more blue around Greenland and in the Baffin Bay, and up here by Svalbard and Franz Josef Land, Novaya Zemlya. It's melting around here, and it's starting to open up. I'll show you on NASA Worldview that the ice is opening up. Here is the sea ice extent, and this blue is this year, and the dotted line was 2012, and so we're below 2012, and we're way below the 1981 to 2010 average. So considering the volume as well, this is not good news for the Arctic for this summer. So here's where April started, and the 21st, here's where it was the highest, was March the 21st, and it's going down since then. So it's already melting, is what we're seeing. So there's that. So we'll come back to that for the Antarctic in a minute. Let's look at Climate Reanalyzer on sea ice and snow cover, and here's our slideshow. This is for today, and so the big changes that we can actually notice are here in the Fram Strait and up here in the Barents Sea, and if you look closely you can see up here in the Okhotsk Sea. But right now it's hard to see that much change. It's very slight. So here we are today. Now we'll go back to last Sunday. This is where we were last Sunday when I did the show. Here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now you can see the decrease here in the Barents Sea. Here's Thursday. See, that was a big jump there. It's a big opening up there. Friday, Saturday, and today. So you might see a little bit of regrowth and just some back and forth depending on the ice drift and the air temperature and the sea surface temperature up there too. But it's melting. It is definitely starting to melt, and the sun is up. The sun is up, and it will be up constantly for several months now. And as it gets higher and higher in the sky and gets more direct, of course, then it'll get more direct radiation and start heating things up. So now we'll go through the models from the Navy website, U.S. Navy. This is sea ice thickness for today. This is in the Arctic. Now we can see, okay, the dark purple is about 1 meter thick. The light aqua is about 2 meters thick. The green is about 3 meters thick. And then like the red, like the bright red is about 4 meters thick. Dark red is about 5 meters thick. So we don't have very much thick sea ice at all. And what's left of the thickest ice is now down here in the Beaufort Sea. It had been up here from Ellesmere down to this Canadian island here. Had been right around here at the beginning of the winter season. And then it's been sliding down, being pulled down into the gyre, and now it's compressed down here, and it's starting to, the big leads are breaking up, and this will be melting soon. So I've named these quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4 just for reference, so we can have some kind of reference point as we look at this. So the big changes that we can see are here in quadrant 3 by Svalbard, also here at Franz Josef Land. You see the white that's all opened up on this north side of Franz Josef Land. It's opened up on the north end of Novaya Zemlya. It's opening up around the coastlines, and you'll see more when we go to NASA Worldview. And the Baffin Bay it's trying to get some little regrowth, but I think that's about as much as we're going to get, considering that the sun is up now. Now here's the 30-day animation. It goes back 3 weeks with the data, and I think it goes forward 6 days. It goes forward to the 10th here. So you can definitely see the shift in the ice here in this Fram Strait, when it's, see, we're kind of whittled down, and now it's more of a straight line on the edge. Let's zoom in. And see in the forecast period, you can see the ice here by Novaya Zemlya. See, it's changing from purple into the whitish area, whitish color, which means it's almost all melted. It's just a little skim. So this area will melt first, this Barents Sea, along with this area by Svalbard and Franz Josef Land, this area in here. So quadrant 3 will melt first, and then around Greenland and the Baffin Bay, and then we'll start seeing ice exiting through this through the Nares Strait as that starts really melting, and it exits through this Canadian archipelago once that melts, and it'll be exiting out through the Beaufort Sea into the Bering Strait as that melts. And then this area in quadrant 1, you can see where the darker areas are. Those will melt first, and then the thicker areas around the coastlines. There will be a little bit of ice left there for a little while, then that'll melt. But if you remember last year, this area around the Russian coastline, it was ice-free for, a couple of months or longer. We're also seeing this Oco Sea. Watch here in the forecast period. See the white? That's really going to be melting back this week. So there's that. This is the Beaufort Sea view, and this is sea ice thickness. So this is Alaska down here at the bottom. Here's Canada on the right. So this is what's left of this thickest sea ice right in here, and it's had a rough time this winter. It's been tossed and turned, and that's what we got. Just this little skim of the dark red, which is up to 5 meters thick, here along this Canadian coastline, and in here, and along the Alaska coastline. Now here's the 30-day animation. And you can see where it had been thick, it pulled away. It's this ice drift, it just pulls it away from the coastline, and the ice goes under, and then it has to kind of start piling up again. And if you watch down here, see this thick ice, see it breaks off here at Barrow and slides out. See that? And the general direction is this clockwise motion of the gyre. That's the general direction. So there's that. Now this is the lead area opening rate. Now the leads are the long cracks that we see in the ice in between where the pieces come together. And this is what melts first, the leads. And so lead area opening rate, where it goes up into these colors, it's faster. So this is like up to 15% a day is up into this dark red. This aqua is about, I'd say that's about 7%, and so on. But we'll see these lines on NASA Worldview, but it's interesting to see them here. So these are all the cracks that are opening up. And this, remember, this is in the thickest sea ice. And right down here on the coast of Alaska, see that's opening up the fastest. And also up here on this coast of Canada. Now here's the 30-day animation on this. So this ice has been opening up for a while, hasn't it? And it has to do with the ice drift and the air temperature and the wind and the atmosphere up there. Now this is the Baffin Bay. Here's Greenland on the right. Here's Canada on the left. And this ledger is different from the Arctic sea ice. The dark red only is 2 meters thick. So this ice is much thinner. Where we see aqua and green, it's about 1 meter thick. And the dark green is about it's between 1 and 1.5 meters thick. And so on. So this is a lot thinner than the ice in the Arctic Ocean. Now here's the 30-day animation here. We can see in the forecast period that it goes back in, showing that it's retreating. Instead of growing now, it's going to be retreating. Here's the sea surface temperature. This dark red is 4C, and we can see it's dark red down here in the bottom. And this is about halfway up in the Baffin Bay. It doesn't go all the way up. So this is ice here on the left, and then this represents open water here on the right. And it has to be about -2C in order for the ice to regrow because of the salinity, the salt content of the water. Now here's the Antarctic sea ice thickness for today. Now this started regrowing early, and we can see that the Ross Sea has filled in pretty much all the way, and we're seeing regrowth all around on this west side. And this is the Weddell Sea that's coming back, and you'll see the growth around the edges as it comes back. Traditionally, most of the ice melts around the landmass in their summertime, and then in their wintertime, when the sun goes down, it regrows out around the continent. So that's just opposite of what we have in the Arctic. Here's the 30-day animation, and we can see it regrowing. It's not very thick. So there's that. I think that's all of those pictures. Yep. Now we'll move on to, okay, let's go to the Antarctic daily. Here's concentration for, this is as of yesterday, and you can see it's not very concentrated. That means it's thin, and there are lots of openings in it. Here's the chart for its ice extent. The blue line is this year. This dark grayish green line was last year. It reached the lowest last year. And we were below that for a while. Let's see, this and that was in their melt. And then look at the regrowth. It hopped up there early in February, and it's kind of leveling out. It's kind of going parallel with what it did last year. So we'll see how the regrowth does this year. Now we'll take a peek at Climate Reanalyzer. Here's our maximum temperatures for today. We can see it's hot across the equator, India, Africa. We've got cold air coming down over Greenland. And it's split again. Okay, here's 2 meter temperature anomaly. Now, we don't have much warm air here in the Arctic. We've got a little bit of red up here in Russia. This is air temperature. I see the blues. So again, it's split coming down into Russia and then down into North America and Greenland. So the cold air is not being kept in because the jet stream is broken. Now we are seeing browns and reds coming down over Canada and into a lot of the US here. So here we are with the flat view. So worldwide we're up 0.2 C higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 0.5 C. The Arctic is at minus 0.9 C, lower than normal right now. The Antarctic is 0.6 C, lower than normal. The southern hemisphere is in balance, and the tropics are up 0.2 C. That's what we've got there. Here's precipitation and clouds today. We see snow coming in on this North Atlantic area and Greenland. Now look at the rain, this little band of rain here in the Baffin Bay. There's that. Here's the jet stream, or the pieces, the jet pieces. See, there's nothing resembling a stream here, and it looks worse every day. See the breaks, and there's no rhyme or reason to any of this. And see, we've got 2 or 3 lines down here in the southern hemisphere. We saw sea ice and snow cover. Here's sea surface temperature anomaly for Saturday, and we're seeing the browns up here still in the Barents Sea, and this is higher than normal. And here south of Svalbard, and here around Greenland, and we've got reds up here in the North Atlantic, and here off the coast of Canada and the US. So even up into the pinks, that's 6C higher than normal. And right next to it, we've got these little purple areas, which is 6C lower than normal. So we've got warmer and colder mixed right next to each other, kind of like with the air. And look here, off the coast of Central America, we've got the purple, and off the coast of South America we've got blue and purple. So that's kind of unusual. And then in the Pacific, over around Japan and China, we've got reds and browns. And see the blue on this west side of North America, so that's colder than normal. So everything is 0.3 C higher than normal, except for the equatorial Pacific. It's at minus 0.1 C, lower than normal. So everything else is worldwide: Northern Hemisphere, North Atlantic, North Pacific, Southern Hemisphere is 0.3 C higher than normal on the sea surface temperature. Now, we'll look at, okay, we saw the NASA thing. We'll look at NASA Worldview now. I'll refresh and make sure we've got all the data here. So this is the Arctic view. Here's Greenland. Here's Canada on the left. Here's Russia on this top part. Here's Novaya Zemlya. Iceland is here. Here's Norway. Here's Franz Josef Land. Franz Josef Land is there. Here's Svalbard. Here is Severnaya Zemlya, this group of islands, and this island is Komsolometz, where we've been seeing the methane billowing for constantly for a year and going on 4 months now. Now if we turn on the sea ice concentration layer, see the colors. This is where it's melting. Look here by Greenland. See, this is starting to really break up. Now some of this occasionally will be a little refreeze on the edge, but generally now this is going to be melting. We can look at all this melt around Franz Josef Land, and here on the north end of Novaya Zemlya, and on this west side, and see in the Kara Sea on the coast of the Yamal Peninsula, and here, and then see it's breaking up. There's a big hole here by Komsolometz, and you'll see more reds as we go along, where the ice is starting to break down. And here by Greenland, this is the nearest strait here, and here's the Baffin Bay. You can see a lot of colors here. And here's the Hudson Bay. You can see colors here where it's starting to melt. Here's the Bering Strait and the Bering Sea here. You'll see melting going on here. Here's Kamchatka, and this is the Okhotsk Sea, and this is melting. These colors represent melting now. So we'll turn this layer off now. And let's see what we can see. I'm gonna start. We've been starting here, by Greenland, just because this had been an area that had opened up. Oops. Now, some of this we're looking through a cloud cover. Sometimes it'll melt and then just a little skim of ice will refreeze, and so that's why you see ice there, but it's not very thick at all. So you can see this is almost open area here. You can see all these cracks, see the leads. Here it is along the coastline. See, it's pulling away there. There's open water. Let's see. Here we go. See, there's open water there. And then this is about as far as the ice came on this east side in the Baffin Bay. Then here it is down here. Just a little fringe coming down into Canada. Now we're looking, this is cloud. We're looking through some cloud cover here too. There's open water, see? So we'll be seeing more and more as things open up with the open water. Here's Iceland. So here's Svalbard today. Let's see, now we've got a big cloud over here. Now you can see there are areas of open water here. We're looking through a cloud, but see these pieces, this is ice, and here's ice, but this is open here. This is open here. We just can't see it because of the cloud. This is Franz Josef Land. See, this this is considered north because the North Pole is to the left here. So that's opening up. Look, by this little island, see that? It's breaking up. Open water there. I'll show you. Now here's Novaya Zemlya. Here's the north end. This is opened up this week. You can see it's quite thin here on the west side. It's opening up here by the Yamal Peninsula and along the coastline here. Now here we have Komsomolets, this little island here, and if we zoom in, see the breaks in the ice. This is the area where the methane is billowing. Now see, all this is open. See that? That's open. So this is really opening up fast here. Now this is on up by the Russia coastline. So let's go back. Here's yesterday. See, we're looking through some clouds here, but this is see, that's open. So this is the Laptev Sea here, and you can see the leads, the long cracks opening up. Let's see today. See, there's a little bit more cloud cover today. Here's the New Siberian Islands, and this is another area where they found large methane deposits in the sediment. See the crack coming all the way across. Now here's the Chukchi Sea. This area is where that it was coming up like yellow, in the yellow, and it went into the reddish color this week. Big cloud. This was on cams. It was in this area. So here's Alaska, and remember the lead opening that we saw on the Navy website? Here are the cracks. You can see it here. See that? See, it goes all the way across. So this is the thickest sea ice, and there was an earthquake Monday. I think it was Monday. It was a 5 point something right in this area. About in this area. Let's see. We'll do 7 days. Right here. This one. Yep. See, 5.2 in the Beaufort Sea. That's what we saw. That was on the 29th. That was on Monday. See if we can get a better view of this. Now, so we're looking through a little bit of cloud cover here. See the crack there? So here we were last Sunday. So we were just starting to be able to see the cracks. So when we go through, you can see it's opening up here along the coastline. So here we are on the 31st. You're really starting to see the cracks now. And here we are today. So you can see these cracks all along. Now this is the thickest sea ice, what was left of it. Here's the coastline. And here's Ellesmere Island, and here's Greenland. Now up here, let's look just north of Greenland. Here on the 2nd, we were able to get a pretty good view of the ice. See, you can see here's this hole on this upper right hand corner. So it's already, you can see the cracks there. See. And this is the Fram Strait here. Let's see. It's usually pretty cloudy up here. So here we were last Sunday. There's the second. That was the best day to see the ice here. So you can see the cracks all the way up here. And here we are today. So that's kind of what we've got right now. Now we'll hop down to the Antarctic. So this big black area is where we can't see anything because the sun is going down, and it's below the horizon. The sun is below the horizon. There's just a little bitty tiny bit of light left. So here's the north end. Here's the Western Peninsula. This is the Weddell Sea over here. Now, right down here on this brunt ice sheet, I've been watching this iceberg that broke off, the A74, that broke off the end of February, and it's getting frozen in. You can see where the ice is refrozen in around it, but this is it, and it has pulled away from the main ice sheet. Let's see if we can get a better view of this. No, it's been cloudy all week. If you didn't know what you were looking for, it'd be hard to see it. So here we are today. That's about the best view we're going to get. This is it here. See? And see how far it's pulled out already. And look at this. Look at these cracks. These are bigger. I wonder if something's going to break off during their winter time. It could happen. The A68 broke off in the winter time. Look, those cracks look worse to me. Here's the Halloween crack. So this is where it broke off. Here's some more cracks. See? Oops. So here's the Weddell Sea. It's in the process of refreeze. Here's the Western Peninsula. Here's the Larsen Sea. This area right here is where A68 broke off. And we've been following that on its journey. Up here, let's see. Here's the South Georgia Island, and today, let's see if we can see our iceberg. I saw it earlier. Here it is. This piece, that's the biggest piece of what's left of A68. and still breaking up. Here's South Georgia Island. So that was on the 2nd. Here's the 3rd. And here we are today. And we can't really see it today. It's under here somewhere. Here's Pine Island Glacier down here. See, it's cloud covered. And Thwaites Glacier, it's cloud covered. And we've got the refreeze coming in. See the ice there refreezing. Here's the Ross Sea down here. Wait, I got lost. Ross Sea right here. And the Ross Ice Shelf, it's in the dark there. Here's Ross Island. Right there. Cloudy. So there's that. And the Avery ice sheet right here. There's our refreeze coming in. It's so cloudy. Here it was on the 1st. See the ice refreezing. Here's this sheet. And so on. You can see the ice freezing around the edges here. So there's that. Now I have another article to share. This is from the Barents Observer. This is from March the 29th. Now we've seen this information before, but this was reposted by the Barents Observer, that they're out of Norway, and they're just reiterating that the Russian Arctic coast has planet's quickest warming, and that parts of northern Siberia were up to 7°C warmer than normal in 2020. And massive melting of sea ice on the northern sea route now paves the way for hike and shipping. Russia is all in and getting ready for shipping more and more this year. It was the 2nd warmest year in the Arctic on record. Let's get a clean view without those ads. 2nd warmest year in the Arctic on record, and parts of the vast region saw air temperatures far beyond the traditional freeze. The year 2020 follows the trend of the past decades, and its spring months were the absolutely warmest since measurements started more than 100 years ago. So here's their map. Here's Greenland here, North America here, here's Alaska, and then you've got Russia over here, and here's the coastline. So see the circles, it's right in this area where it had been the super warmest. Parts of the Russian Arctic are now several degrees warmer than just a few years ago. The warming is the most significant along parts of the North Siberian coast, especially around the peninsulas of Taimyr and Yamal. Taimyr is right here, and Yamal is right here, and on NASA Worldview it's a little easier to see it up here. This is Tamir and Yamal is here. So they're talking about the coastlines around here, this area. And so this is including Combe-Solomons and this area where the methane's coming up. Heat maps show that an area on the coast of Tamir in 2020 had average temperatures up to 7°C higher than normal. Through major parts of the year, the same region had the biggest temperature deviations in the whole Arctic. So it's kind of hard to see, but the picture is flipped here. Here's Tamir. Here's Novaya Zemlya. So it's right on this, right down here, this area. In February, the Tamir Peninsula was 12°C warmer than normal, and in October the temperature deviation was up to 10°C. And let's see, the vortex is there every winter, but in 2020 was more stable over the Arctic than normal. Cold and stable stratosphere of the Arctic led to major temperature contrasts with more southerly air. This resulted in a significant and strong wind field, a jet stream in the edge parts of the vortex, and the low pressures took a more southern course, which subsequently gave the record warm conditions in Siberia and also in Scandinavia and major parts of Europe. So if you remember, last year, they had the fires and those warm temperatures. So that's kind of a recap of last year. Let's see, here's sea ice extension along the northern sea route 2020. It was down to nothing in 2020. We saw that. Consequences for Arctic environment are dramatic. Sea ice is melting at an unprecedented pace. Let's see. Before the year 2000, the sea ice extension along the northern sea route normally amounted to about 1.5 million square kilometers, but in September that has radically changed. The quick reduction of sea ice started in 2001 from an area of 1.4 million square kilometers to only 200,000 square kilometers in 2005. Over the last 15 years, the extension of sea ice in September has ranged between 200 to 300,000 square kilometers, which is 5 to 7 times less than in the 1980s. So they're talking about the northern sea route, this area. The year 2020 smashed the former record from 2012 when there was an ice sheet of 37,000 square kilometers in the area. The quick warming in the region also significantly affects the permafrost that stretches across the circumpolar Arctic. So we know the permafrost is thawing, not melting. See, I caught myself. It's thawing, and so that's causing all kinds of infrastructure problems. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Russia is today investing big sums and efforts into the development of the Northern Sea Route to a commercial trade route, and President Putin has made it a national objective to increase annual shipment in the area to 80 million tons. Russian government representatives have openly expressed delight with the recent blockage of the Suez Canal, and nuclear power company Rosatom in a tweet made fun about the situation in the area. Rosatom has key responsibilities for the development of the NSR, or Northern Sea Route. Also, the Russian Ministry of Energy this week said that the traffic jam in Suez illustrates the need for the Northern Sea Route. According to ministry representatives, the Northern Sea Route was in 2020 open for transshipments for up to 10 months. 10 months. That's almost the whole year. 10 months. So there's that. So I'll leave the link below for that. So Russia is ready for the ice to melt. They're ecstatic. And not only Russia, but all these other countries are going to be going through using the sea routes and stuff too. So there you have it. Now we'll look at some earthquakes. It's been a really crazy week with earthquakes. I took these pictures this morning. There were 178 worldwide, so the number has gone down. At one point it was over 300, and now it's gone down to 178. And notice there's nothing on this West Pacific side. And so we'll just click through. In the lower 48, there were 116 today. Southern California had 24. Searles Valley Ridgecrest area had 48, so that's an uptick. Like day before there were 20-something. So that's about double what it was the day before, 41 now. Here in western Nevada over to Mammoth Lakes, it's 15. Look at Northern California, there were 9 here. So this is the Juan de Fuca plate here, and see, this is the fulcrum point going across. A lot of pressure comes out here, and it's in a straight line. You can see them lined up in a straight line there. Pacific Northwest over to Yellowstone is showing 14, and we're seeing movement. This is showing movement. The Cascadia subduction zone is causing those in Washington. None in Texas today. 4 in Oklahoma today. Puerto Rico is only showing 9 today. Here in the central mid-Atlantic ridge was a 5.0. And yesterday there was a 5 point something near Ascension Island, right down here. There were 3 in the South America view, 4.7 on the West Chile rise, and then 2 4.4s. Hawaii showing 26 today. We had a 4.3 at Pahala. This came in yesterday at 2:15 in the afternoon Pacific time. Alaska is only showing 14 today, so this makes me very nervous because when this gets really low here in Alaska, it means that pressure is building somewhere, and normally we'll see. Now, it used to be we'd see between 50 and 100 a day, Now in the last few months we've only been seeing around 40 a day, but to have 14 is almost unheard of, and they're not very big. And here in this picture we only have 3. We've got 2 down here in the South Pacific, 4.5 south of the Fiji Islands that was 507 kilometers deep, and a 4.9 in the Kermadec Islands region. And then over here in the Indian Ocean was a 5.6 at the mid-Indian Ridge. And there were 3 in this picture. Over here was a 4.4 at Ternavos, Greece, and a 4.3 in Tajikistan, and 4.4 in Afghanistan. And then a 5.4 in Namibia, Africa, on land, which is kind of an unusual place to see a large earthquake. There's that. Here's the USGS website. Here's a new one. Down here in the Gulf of California, 5.4 off the coast of La Ribera, Mexico. And so this is just at the north end of the Cocos Plate. And here we have another one just off next to the Juan de Fuca Plate, a 2.9 in the ocean there. Now, this is kind of bothering me here in Northern California. See, we've got 7 in this picture, but we've got, see these here near Lassen Peak. These are old volcanoes coming back to life, I think. 1.8, 2.0, 1.0, and 0.1. So 4 clustering right there. Here's one just next to Lake Almanor, 1.0. Here's a 1.6 at Shingletown, 1.6 at Palo Cedro, just east of Redding, and this is Lake Shasta just to the north of there. And then a 1.9 at Redway, and a 1.6 Petrolia. Another thing that's bothering me today is nothing at the geysers. Well, here's one. Here's a 1.4 at the geysers, and normally we see about 20 to 30 a day here. So to see nothing here is kind of bothersome. And that came in at 2:20 this afternoon. Now we are having quite a bit of movement on this west side of California, see, along this San Andreas fault line. See how big this one is. 2.2. So they're not that big, but we are seeing movement there. So I wonder what's building. Pressure's building. It has to be to have, we've got 167 earthquakes now. Okay, we've got 2 over here at Japan. These are new. Here's a 4.6 and then a 4.5 near Hamamatsu. Let's look at Hawaii. 20. So, I don't know. I just have to see what happens. Look up here. Now, 2 of these I had pictures of this morning. This is a new one here. Pakistan 4.2. So we got 3 right here in this area. Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and Pakistan. See? So I'm going to finish the show by continuing to read out of the book of Acts. Now, Acts tells of what happened with the disciples after Jesus' resurrection. And this is Resurrection Sunday. This is the day that Christians celebrate the resurrection and ascension of Jesus Christ after he was crucified. And this is what sets Christianity apart from the other religions in the world, that Christ arose. He overcame the physical earth because he was the Son of God. And so the book of Acts just continues to spread the good tidings of Jesus and the message that he brought of his Father's kingdom, which is where I hope you want to go. And the way it's not looking very good right now. And dark days are upon us. Darker days are coming. But in order for your soul to be saved, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and the only way to my Father's kingdom is through me. So, if you are so inclined, I recommend that you open your heart to him and give your life to Jesus Christ. Acts chapter 20. And after the uproar was ceased, Paul called unto him the disciples, and embraced them, and departed for to go into Macedonia. And when he had gone over these parts, and had given them much exhortation, he came into Greece, and there abode 3 months. And when the Jews laid wait for him, as he was about to sail into Syria, he purposed to return through Macedonia. And there accompanied him into Asia Sopater of Berea, and of the Thessalonians, Aristarchus and Secundus, and Gaius of Derbe, and Timotheus of Asia, Tychius and Trophimus. These going before tarried for us at Troas. And we sailed away from Philippi after the days of unleavened bread, and came unto them to Troas in 5 days, where we abode 7 days. And upon the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread, Paul preached unto them, ready to depart on the morrow, and continued his speech until midnight. And there were many lights in the upper chamber where they were gathered together. And there sat in a window a certain young man named Eutychus, being fallen into a deep sleep. And as Paul was long preaching, he sank down with sleep, and fell down from the 3rd loft, and was taken up dead. And Paul went down and fell on him, and embracing him said, Trouble not yourselves, for his life is in him. When he therefore was come up again, and had broken bread and eaten, and talked a long while, even till break of day. So he departed. And they brought the young man alive, and were not a little comforted. And we went before to ship, and sailed unto Assos, there intending to take in Paul, for so had he appointed, minding himself to go afoot. And when he met with us at Assos, we took him in, and came to Mytilene. And we sailed thence, and came the next day over against Chios. And the next day we arrived at Samos, and tarried at Trogyllium. And the next day we came to Miletus. For Paul had determined to sail by Ephesus, because he would not spend the time in Asia, for he hasted, if it were possible for him, to be at Jerusalem the day of Pentecost. And from Miletus he sent to Ephesus, and called the elders of the church. And when they were come to him, he said unto them, Ye know from the first day that I came into Asia, after what manner I have been with you at all seasons, serving the Lord with all humility of mind, and with many tears and temptations, which befell me by the lying in wait of the Jews, and how I kept back nothing that was profitable unto you, but have shewed you, and have taught you publicly, and from house to house, testifying both to the Jews and also to the Greeks, repentance toward God, and faith toward our Lord Jesus Christ. And now behold, I go bound in the Spirit unto Jerusalem, not knowing the things that shall befall me there, save that the Holy Ghost witnesseth in every city, saying that bonds and afflictions abide me. But none of these things move me, neither count I my life dear unto myself, so that I might finish my course with joy, and the ministry which I have received of the Lord Jesus, to testify the gospel of the grace of God. And now behold, I know that ye all, among whom I have gone preaching the kingdom of God, shall see my face no more. Wherefore I take you to record this day, that I am pure from the blood of all men, for I have not shunned to declare unto you all the counsel of God. Take heed therefore unto yourselves, and to all the flock, over the which the Holy Ghost hath made you overseers, to feed the church of God, which he hath purchased with his own blood. For I know this, that after my departing shall grievous wolves enter in among you, not sparing the flock. Also of your own selves shall men arise, speaking perverse things, to draw away disciples after them. Therefore watch, and remember that by the space of 3 years I ceased not to warn every one night and day with tears. And now, brethren, I commend you to God, and to the word of his grace, which is able to build you up, and to give you an inheritance among all them which are sanctified. I have coveted no man's silver, or gold, or apparel. Yea, ye yourselves know that these hands have ministered unto my necessities, and to them that were with me. I have shewed you all things, how that so laboring ye ought to support the weak, and to remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how he said, It is more blessed to give than to receive. And when he had thus spoken, he kneeled down and prayed with them all. And they all wept sore, and fell on Paul's neck and kissed him, sorrowing most of all for the words which he spake, that they should see his face no more. And they accompanied him unto the ship. Acts chapter 20. So I bid you good Resurrection Day, and go in peace, and may the love of God and the peace of God be upon you today. And I'll speak with you soon. I hope you have a good week. I love you all, and I'm praying for you. God bless you, and good night.